Good afternoon, Tom Ginn and Mark
Mark
Gasser.
Gassard. Yeah.
There you go, buddy. Hey, good afternoon. We're going to get rolling out here in a second, so we'll be right back. Elevate your profits, Mark Gasser and Tom
And
Ginn.
Tom Ginn.
We'll be right back. Here we are. Good afternoon, Mark. I know you had a different type of day today, so
a little bit.
Yeah. But today, I'm excited with our guest. We'll make that announcement interview here in a moment. But
okay,
if you'd like to share a little bit, why we do this program, Mark.
Elevate your profits. Well, it's not just about the money. It's about a variety of things. It's how one elevates themselves. What they're doing out there in the marketplace, how they serve their fellow human being. It can be a combination of things. How people are entrepreneurs. How they're developing their business. And, it all goes back to that mantra that I say service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. And I think that's what we talk about. It could be from a coaching perspective, business, arts, you name it. And I think we try and cover all that. And today's guest, I'm going to allow you to speak about who we're going to talk with and what we're going to talk about, which I think will be interesting.
It'll be exciting. This is probably a little bit, the whole program, like you said, Mark, is everything from how we think all the way to the bank account, how we develop to become more effective, serve people. We've interviewed some very significant business people that bring some great wisdom, experience, their stories. I love the story side of what we do. That people go into business for a lot of different reasons, and lots of times we see people in business, we think they never had any challenges. But I love that part of what we do in our interviews. And our guest today, Sara Phillips, on LinkedIn, I found her. She had a promo for a 20-minute or 20-minute intro to what she's doing, and I saw the information on the little bio. I registered and I showed up and I met her there, and what she was sharing is something that resonated with me at a deep level. A lot of times I think, oh, we're just going to be, typical sales training, know your presentation, always be closing, feature, benefit, all the typical things, old school. We still need to understand that. But
right.
So what she was talking about, I said, I want to talk with this lady. And, I talked with her and I said, she's a perfect match for what we're doing. For that person out there that is in sales or desiring to go into sales. I believe everybody is in sales, no matter what age we are, whether we're in business or not. We're always trying to convince somebody to look at our point of view, right? That's sales. So today I'm going to introduce Sara Phillips. Are you ready, Sara? There, she's shaking her head. Good.
There she is.
Hi.
Hey, Sara, thanks for being with us this evening.
It is an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And wow, I was totally honored when I was asked to be on here because we were just having a nice friendly chat, and so I was very honored that what I was saying hit a chord, and you felt like I had something really valuable to offer your audience. So very happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, thank you. What I'd like you really to do is, we're not going to put you under the fire here, but we talked a little bit share a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, I always like to hear people's why, their story, their purpose in life. I just we'll let you roll, and may have some comments coming in, and we'll put those up on the screen when they come across, and acknowledge them or answer any questions they may have. So we got make sure everybody tags and shares this if you're hearing it live, or if you're watching on the replay. We never know that one bit of wisdom or thought can change somebody's life in their business. We never know who we're going to touch. So tag and share this out with your friends and colleagues out there. Well, Sarah, it's all yours.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. My story is that, okay, here's like the shocking piece of information from me. I was actually born in England with this accent. I just tell people I was born in Southern England, but no, I was born in London. I actually was born in Southern England, but I was born in London, but I came here when I was 2.5, 3 years old. So I've been here in North Carolina ever since then. I've lived all over the state, but mainly down towards the East Coast, Goldsboro. And I was born into a family of 8 children. I was the baby, and my parents owned a store. And I remember going to school when I was 9. Now, y'all are probably old enough to remember this. Some of your audience is not going to get this, but when Pop Rocks first came out, do you remember that there was this whole big controversy about Pop Rocks? And parents all of a sudden, they were exploding in people's stomachs, supposedly, and parents didn't want their kids to have them. So I went to school, and all the kids were complaining that, they want these Pop Rocks, and their parents won't let them have it. And I was like, well, I can get you Pop Rocks. That's not a big deal. So they all gave me their money, and I went home, and I brokered a deal with my parents so that I could buy Pop Rocks at wholesale, go to school, resell them at retail, and I got to keep the profit. And thus began my career in sales. I literally created my own sales job. And everything that I've built in my life has been based on what I learned as a 9-year-old child. And that was this. Sales was nothing more than connecting a person with what they wanted or needed. And I was simply getting paid to make the connection for them. So as a result, I've had a very successful sales career, but it has not been based on anybody's book. It hasn't been based on anybody's anything other than just personal experience and seeing how the world worked. I did pay my way through college doing that, which was very cool. In fact, I remember my mom when I was 15 coming home, and she had borrowed $8,000 from me till the end of the week, till she got some money in. So, it was a very lucrative thing for me. So I learned that sales is extremely profitable and extremely comfortable. So I've spent most of my life doing exactly that. And because I was very good at it, naturally, my bosses always wanted to move me into the sales training position, train all the other agents, teach other people how to do what you do. And I've done that, and I did it very, very successfully. The challenge that I ran across was that every company that I worked for, they always said, train them any way you want to, just make sure you do this. And it would be that very one thing that they insisted that I did that reduced the results. So I got great results, but it could have been better. And I knew it, and I struggled with it for a long time. And finally I said, this is crazy. Why am I doing this? Why am I beating my head against this wall? So I started my own business and decided that I wanted to sell. And to be quite honest, my original plan was to go in and help people who were doing exactly what you're doing, which was like corporate sales. And then I thought, well, no, because then you're going back into the same avenue. So I really sat down and thought about, okay, who do you want to serve? And I realized that the people that I loved the most and that I wanted to support the most were people who don't get nearly enough support. And that is those people who have spent a lifetime working at another job. They finally finally got the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to do my own deal. And they get in and they're very, very good at what they do. You know, you got somebody who's a hypnotherapist or whatever they do, and they're very good at it. The only problem is that no one ever taught them how to share their value with another human being in a way that made them want to buy. So now they're 3 to 6 months in, sitting there every day going, oh my God, if I don't start bringing some money in soon, I'm going to have to go back to work. And for those of you who have never experienced this feeling, it is absolutely soul crushing to finally be chasing your passion in life. And then all of a sudden to realize that you're going to have to leave it all behind and go back and work for somebody else doing something you don't want to do for an amount of money that's not nearly what you're worth. And I was like, yeah, that's the group of people. That's the ones. That's my passion. I don't ever want anyone to have to face that decision. So as a result, I work with coaches and solopreneurs to help them sell in a way that is not salesy, it's not pushy, it's not manipulative, it's not the always be selling, Glengarry, Glen Ross, Wolf of Wall Street kind of selling. Very few people on this planet can do that kind of selling. It's very uncomfortable. But I teach them to sell in a way where they feel comfortable, they feel totally authentic, and they are able to create a win-win situation where both parties, both the seller and the buyer, walk away with a win every single time. So that's the long and the short of it for me. That's how I got to where I am.
Mark, go ahead if you got a question or want to ask her something.
You go first.
I'm going to jump in here. I'll start with this. You going into business, we usually we have a passion. We're good at something, and like you say, we say, I'm tired of making somebody else's dream come true. I want to take control of that, and not realizing all the moving parts in a business. And a lot of people think, well, I get a website up, and gosh, people will be coming through my doors, right? And then marketing, a lot of people think marketing's selling, and it's not. And so you got to understand what marketing is. And there's a gray area there that calls that intrigue to find out more about you, but what's your message? So a lot of people don't even understand the marketing side. But then when it comes, and I'll just share this with you, maybe you've seen it as well. I've been in business since 1983. I've hired hundreds of people in my financial services company. And what I found is the success of a salesperson is directly related to their relationship or their attitude about sales and salespeople and their relationship to money and asking for money. So if you don't have those two things in place strong, it's going to come across on a subconscious level. And so I saw that for years until I got in, and I couldn't figure out why aren't they more talented than me, smarter than me, could give that presentation, answer every question that they could, I was in financial services. They can answer every question, but there was no revenue coming in. They weren't making the sales. And I didn't realize this until years later. Those two elements is, number one, their relationship to sales and what that is.
Yep.
And number two, their relationship with money, especially if you're a high ticket thing. How does somebody sell a $10 million airliner when they only got $1,000 in their bank account? If they tie those two things together, they never get a $10 million sale. It's your belief system around money. You're worthy of asking for filling their need, and you feel worthy for it. So have you seen that in your coaching? How do you work with people in that area?
Absolutely. And you are so dead on. That is why the very first coaching session that I do with anybody is around coaching mindset. And it does exactly what you talk about. I walk them through what the relationship is to sales, what they are providing for their clients, how they're providing it, and why they deserve to ask for the price tag that they're asking for. So that I have no problem telling somebody when they ask me, Sarah, I want this service. How much does it cost? I don't have any problem telling them, because I know that the price that I'm charging is way less than the value that they get. But until you can make that relationship in your brain, until there is a connection inside of you that allows you to see what you are truly providing for your clients, you're always going to have trouble asking for money. So yeah, you totally nailed it. And it is the most important part of sales. The second most important part is that it's what I call people's paperclip. It's the comfort level. Okay. So if you can imagine, you get up one morning and you say, okay, today I know I need to call 10 prospects. And I'm going to do that. But see, I got this problem. The problem is I just opened up my drawer and every paperclip I have is bent. Now, I am fairly certain that the fate of the free world rests upon me having straight paper clips and that I pay the best price for them. Therefore, I'm not going to call those prospects today. I'm going to go out, I'm going to take my day, and I am going to find the best paper clips at the best price and make sure they're straight and have them in my drawer so that tomorrow morning I can call those 10 prospects. All right? Avoidance. Everybody has their own paperclip. For me, it's paperwork. I could create more systems than you could shake a stick at on how to track something. It's my personal paperclip. You have to figure out, how do I stop going to my paperclip? Well, guess why you go to your paperclip? Because you don't like doing what you're doing. If you're not comfortable in the sales process, you're going to run to that paperclip every single time. So that's the second thing that I work with people on is, how can you be comfortable, positive? How is that a positive experience for you? And that ties right back into that mindset. Because when you truly understand the value that you provide, it's no longer uncomfortable. You're like, oh, who else can I share this with? The whole world needs to know about this. So yeah, I'm totally with you on that. And super, super important. I see so many people training on sales and they're teaching on techniques and closes and scripts and how do I handle objections. And I'm like, when do you teach them the value of what they do? Oh, well, they know that. Yeah, no, they don't. If they did, you wouldn't be having this problem. So yeah.
You just said something. There is the avoidance. It goes back to I believe when you have a strong enough purpose, vision, and why, you don't let anything get in the way. You got to focus at the end result. The sale is going to give you what you really want in life, right? The money, the freedom you're looking for, the educate your kids, buy your house, pay your bills, whatever, travel the world, whatever your why is, what you're going to do with the money. But I see this, and I could relate to this personally, maybe Mark as well. We all get in this trap. Is that avoidance is, well, I got to work on my this marketing letter. So I'm working the business today. You're working. What's it called again? You're working in the business. You're not working the business.
On the business.
Working the business is like Mark says, it's this thing, right? Right, Mark? The telephone. So what do you do? How do you help people get by, that avoidance? What are the things that you teach them to move in the direction that's going to be profitable? There's profit activities and nonprofit activities, right?
Exactly. You know, a lot of that, first of all, like I said, the first thing is being comfortable in the sales process itself, because I can give you 9,000 systems to work with, but if you're not comfortable in the sales process, you're still going to go to your paperclip. Once I have worked with somebody and helped them get comfortable with sales, where they enjoy the process, then it is simply a matter of goal setting. And people say this all the time, you know, oh yeah, you know, I do goal setting. Well, this is how most people do goal setting, that in my experience. It's January 1st, I'm going to set some goals. This year, I'm going to make an extra $100,000. Okay. So you write it down and you put it up on the wall and you go to work. And you work and you work and you work and you work. And about October the 13th, you look up at the wall and go, oh yeah, I'm only at 20,000. I need to change that goal. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't understand what goal setting really truly is, and some people don't even understand why they need to set goals. So let me step back just a second and talk about why you should even worry about it in the first place. Have either of you ever shot archery?
I've shot a bow and arrow, yes.
Okay. All right. Are you good?
No.
No.
Okay. Well, what if I told you that I happen to personally know the world's greatest archer? And I'm going to meet up with you, and I'm going to guarantee you that out of 100 shots, I can teach you to beat him without a single lesson, 99 times out of 100. And most people would say, you have lost your minds. I can make you that guarantee, and here's why. What I didn't mention was I'm not telling him where the goal is. He doesn't know what he's trying to hit. What's his chances of hitting it? Slim and none. If I tell you where it is and I don't tell him, are you going to win more often than he is?
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why you need to set goals. You got to have something that you're aiming towards. But then it goes to the next level. It's not enough just to have something to shoot at. You got to work backwards through that. And that's one of the things that I do with my clients is I say, okay, if this is where you want to be at the end of the year, where do we need to be at the end of this point? And where do we need to be at the end of this point and this point and this point? And we work all the way backwards until you literally have a daily task list where you know exactly what activities you need to do every single day to hit that goal. And as long as you do the activities, the goal is a given. So it's literally reverse engineering everything that you want to do based on what do you want to hit at the end of the year? Where do you want to be? You know, if you want to lose weight, okay, I want to lose 100 pounds. Well, okay, how much weight does that mean I need to lose every single day? Well, okay, I need to lose 0.6 pounds a day. Great. How much is 0.6 pounds? Well, 1 pound is 3,500 calories. You do the math. It's very simple, but most people don't understand how to apply those principles to work backwards. And that is what helps them. Number one, okay, now we're comfortable in the process. Number two, I now have a daily task list. It's a no-brainer for me. You get up in the morning, you check off the list. Okay, good, done. Does that answer the question that you were asking? Sometimes I read.
Sure. Because I was just pondering something there and I was waiting for Mark to see if he had, you know, in your what you have a task list every day, don't you, Mark? You're muted, Mark. I can't hear you, bud. You're muted.
I was being proper and I wanted to listen. That's one of the things we teach is listening. Anyway, no, absolutely. And you touched on something. I when you were talking about people get diverted into other tasks and kind of work around the business, like could be CRM related, writing a letter, it can go on and on and on, the rabbit hole. And the bottom line is, at some point, whether you're going to do it virtually, whether you're going to do it over the phone, whether you're going to do it face to face, you're going to have to engage with a human being at some point. And people put that off and put that off and put that off. And Sarah, I'm sure you encounter that.
Mm-hmm.
People have the greatest intentions. And, I know how long I'm on the phone, and, some people wouldn't do it. It can get kind of tedious at times. We all need to take a break, but then there are others that hide in the rabbit hole or go down that rabbit hole, and, they'll kind of stick their head up and say, well, maybe I'll make about 5 calls, and then they'll call it a day. And that's not going to cut it either. So it's difficult, I think, for some to get that balanced blend. And I'm not saying you don't keep records, and I'm not saying you don't engage with your CRM. That's not what I'm saying. But you can't be all over here and, have all the bells and whistles and, hey, man, I'm doing a lot. And, yeah, you are, but at some point you're going to have to deal with people. And I think you probably see that there's like a fear factor. They are afraid to pick that phone up, or it could even be engaging with somebody even through LinkedIn and having a direct conversation. And God forbid if you're going to have a virtual call, then that really freaks people out. But some, I'm not saying everybody, what we're doing right now. But the ultimate, I mean, we all know if you can get together face to face, that's tremendous. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that, but there are some people that just are they're have an aversion to the phone. It's like a 1,000,000-pound weight, And
Absolutely.
it's really kind of ridiculous when you think about it, because it's just a conversation. That's all you're having. And the worst thing they're going to say is, hey, can you take me off the list? Or, you know what, love what you're doing, but we're just not interested right now. Call me back in 6 months. Okay, fine. And you move on. You don't, and I think you've touched on it. Don't take it so personal. I mean, it's a process. I do listen to other people outside of sales and all that. And there's a gentleman, I don't know if he coaches anymore, Bruce Arians. And excuse me, I'm going to use a bad word, not a real bad word, but he was the head coach of the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals, and he had been with Pittsburgh for a while. One of the things he told the guys was, when they were having a team meeting, if I tell you that your football sucks, don't take it personal. You're just not doing what we want you to do. I like you as a guy or a person, but we're here for a common objective, and that's to get to the Super Bowl and win ball games. And I think sometimes when you get critiqued or people say you're not doing this or that, I just learned not to take it personal and try and look at it from their perspective, and that's hard for people to do, because we all need to be coached and mentored. I mean, and some people think they're above that, but man, there's so much to learn out there. And in sales, I learn from everybody, and that's my whole make. But that I ranted enough, but I'll let you go on.
No, that's fine. I want to address 2 things you said. Number one, yes, having a list is great, but you have to prioritize that list.
Yep.
The way that I prioritize my list is the things that are money-making activities for me, that bring cash through my door. Right. They get scheduled in a time block. All the other stuff just gets written down. So, if I've got a time block scheduled from 9 to 11 to make phone calls, I don't do anything else.
Exactly.
That's it. That's all you get to do during that time. Now, if I've got a break from 11 until 3 in the afternoon, where I don't have any money-making activities scheduled, that's when I fit in the looking at the CRM, the sending this email, doing whatever. But non-income-driven activities are non-scheduled activities. Income-driven activities are scheduled activities on your calendar that you follow. So that was one thing. The second thing that you said, and you are so right, is that, first of all, people wonder, why do I need a coach in the first place? Why are you paying all this money for a coach? Well, Tom Landry, I'm going to use an ugly word here too. It's Tom Landry, because I am a Steelers fan and have been for a long time. So Tom Landry is an ugly word to me, but great coach. I have to give it to him. He was a great coach. And he said that a coach is someone who tells you what you don't want to hear, who has you see what you don't want to see, so you could know so you can be who you've always known that you could be. Coaches are not there to hold your hand and be nice people. That's not our purpose. So people say to me, "What, I don't get it. I don't get why you think I need a coach." I'm like, okay, here's the deal. When you are the fish, you cannot see the water. I am a sales coach. Guess what? I also have a sales coach, which people think is crazy. They're like, "You have a sales coach?" I'm like, yes, because I can't see what I can't see. And I am emotionally involved in my business and my process. And it blinds me to different things. It's like being a fish and sitting around going, I don't get it. I'm always wet. I've used towels. I've used hair dryers. I've used paper towel. I've sat in the sun. I don't understand. Why am I always wet? And the coach stands outside and goes, "Hey, get out of the water." And you're like, oh yeah, that would cause it, right? But we get blind because we have emotional attachments. So having a coach, anything that you want to improve on, you need a coach for. I don't care what it is. If you look at Tiger Woods, greatest golfer in the history of the world, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Do you think he goes out there by himself? No. He has a coach. What is somebody going to teach Tiger Woods, right? They're going to say your swing is off.
Mm-hmm.
You're stroking to the left. Larry Bird, every day, 3,000 foul shots a day. Every single day. It's how he became one of the greatest in the world. And he had a coach who stood there and watched him. So he could say, "You're arching your hand too much. You're not standing correctly. You've moved your foot out of place." It's those little teeny tiny things that create greatness. And that's the purpose of a coach, to bring you to your point of greatness so that you're as efficient as possible. So yeah, really good point on coaching. It is super, super valuable. If you want to grow, you get a coach. It's that simple.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to something you said a little while ago. You re-engineer. You start with the outcome that you seek. That 100,000, that target of $100,000 income. You got to have clear in the why and all that, and you re-engineer it backwards. And then I believe this is absolute. And a lot of people try to keep everything, their activities in their head. I do everything on my calendar. I block out times at certain times of day. This is all I'll do. I leave blocks of time open. Somebody wants to schedule an appointment, at least they can find a place to book an appointment with me. But that's all I do. And I'm very targeted of, it may be 3 people I want to reach out today, or 5, or whatever that number is. But we all find out, if it's not written down, we chase the silvery object. We conform to comfort. I believe in this statement to Albert Eon Gray. Have you ever heard of who he is?
No, I don't believe I have.
He was a president of a big insurance company. This goes back to 1930s or whatever. And he saw the same thing you see. You've got somebody that's got great talent, all this skill, everything, and they're not performing. And so he did some study, and what he found out is that it isn't the most smartest person or the greatest talent that excels in the NBA, right? Yeah. Right? They're the ones that put the work in. They're showing, like the Larry Birds, they're there at the earliest, and then they're there at the latest. And this is what he said. He says that the common denominator of success is this: successful people focus on a result.
Yes.
Non-successful people focus on pleasing methods. That's what we talked to in the past. And so the result you want, what's that activity in business? It's called a transaction. It's called a cash flow. It's called asking for the money. If you can't make money, you're not in business. You got a hobby. You might as well just go get a job and go bake cookies and pass them out at whatever, right? So look at what, and this is what I coach people in is look at what are you doing? Are you doing pleasing methods? Because that's where a lot of people want to go, the paperclip thing, or they want to do the busy work and all that. Or are you really doing the thing that you need to do? And like you said, you put it on the calendar and that's all you do. And don't worry. This is something I found. Tell me if I'm off on this. Too many people looking at a number, an end result. I coach people on focus on the activity. The numbers will follow.
That's right.
But if you say I need 10 people calls, I should close a set, 30% close ratio, and I should get 50% close ratio off of that number, right?
Yep.
Don't focus on that. Focus on the activity and get the appointment. That's all you're doing. I'm calling to get the appointment to continue your conversation.
Yep.
Once you get to, then you have an objective, what you're going to do once you get that. You got to know where the conversation is going, right? So those type of things you train and teach on as well, besides.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are so many small things. Like I said, Larry Bird is the arch in his hand. It seems so minor. Just exactly what you were talking about. It is, focus on this, not this. Stop thinking about this. This thing right here doesn't make any difference. It's not going to change. As a matter of fact, I told a guy one time, I said, because he was like, I don't think you could coach me. And I'm like, really? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, okay. I said, I'm going to give you a super quick example. I absolutely can guarantee you 100% positive that I can increase your sales tenfold if you will do one simple thing. And he was like, what's that? I said, talk to 10 times more people. It's not rocket science. This is not a challenging thing that we're doing here. But the problem is you're not looking at the right variable in the equation. You're looking at the wrong thing. And as long as you are trying to fix the wrong thing, you're going to get the wrong result. You need somebody there who can oversee and say, hey, stop looking at that. Start looking at this.
Also, what do you would do with the person that plans the plan that plan? What do you do with that? I got to get prepared, so I got to make sure. How do you? If I worked in your sales organization, there's a lot of managers. I used to drive my managers nuts. Well, Tom, you haven't understood a security product yet. I said, I don't need to know. I just need to know how to get out in the field. That's all I wanted to do. I learned it on the way.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to have some basic foundation of whatever you're doing, but you learn by doing. You fall down, get your teeth kicked in a couple of times. You figure, oh, what can I do differently? Not better. I never use the word better. What can I do differently to not get this result? Oh, if I tweak this, let me try that. That's where a coach comes in. What are you saying? Are you listening? Right? We talked about this earlier. So the coach is picking out, and then you go back to the free throw line and you focus strictly on the arch, right? Keep doing the arch thing, half your shots. And then tomorrow we're going to work on the footwork, right? Eventually it all comes together. But, how do you get people into just get out there and do it and not worry about the result, because the results will come over time. Your numbers may stink in the beginning.
Yep.
But if you're getting coaching and you're out there, you're going to be learning. And it's
You
okay to
probably, I always tell people, you're probably going to stink when you start.
Yeah.
Because let me clue you in, perfectionism is simply another word for procrastination. You can look at that any way you want to, but the bottom line is, if you are trying to do something perfectly, I mean, think about it. We've all watched a little baby try and learn how to walk. Do they wait till they get it perfectly before they start? No, they'd never walk. Guess what? If you wait till you get your pitch perfect, you're never going to walk. You're never going to get there. Let's see.
doer versus thinking perfect.
Yeah. Make mistakes. The more mistakes you make, and like you said, it's not better. There's no such thing as doing something better. It is
different.
Doing it different. The way I look at it is what is working and what is not working. I want to do more of what works, and I want to eliminate as much as possible those things that don't work. That's all there is. Doesn't mean you're good or bad. There's no judgment. There's no guilt. There's no blame. There's no shame. You're not a bad boy because you didn't make the sale. It is, what did you learn from that experience? What worked for you? And one of the things that I teach people to do is start debriefing yourself after every single sale. Every single sales call, sit down and write out, this is what worked. This is what did not work. This is what I can change next time. Those 3 statements, that's all. That's all you need. And you keep them in a file and you keep going until eventually that goes into your brain and you go, oh, okay, yeah, I've written this doesn't work statement about 10 times now. I should probably eliminate that. Because as much as we want to do it one time and correct it and be done with it, again, we go back to the baby walking. Do they want to get it right the second time? Yeah. But they have to, we get to make the same error in judgment multiple times before it sinks into our subconscious, so that before we start to do it again, our brain goes, wait, we already did that like 10 times. It never works. Okay, we're not doing that this time. And is what you do the next time guaranteed to work? No. That might not work any better, but you've changed. It's an incremental change. So it comes down to really focusing on allowing yourself to make mistakes. Embrace mistakes. Embrace the learning of mistakes. And then take it to someone who can show you, okay, this is why this did not work. Let's look at a way to adjust it. And stop carrying around the guilt, for Pete's sake. You think you're the only person who has ever blown a sale? Let me come and show you my files. Because I promise you, the only difference between us and the person who is unsuccessful at sales is how many times we've failed. You only become successful by failing. You know, one of the people that had a huge influence on my life was a man named Dexter Yeager. I don't know if y'all know who he is, but he is
the man of Amway.
Yes, he is. He does, and Amway is now over a $6 billion company, and his organization does 80% of Amway's volume every year. That's how good this man is at what he does.
Sarah, I heard that they tore down his estate where it used to be located. I don't know how true that is, but I don't think anybody's living there anymore. From someone that lives in Charlotte, they'd know. They live up around that area, but
I have no idea. I know he moved. They built a house in Stuart, Florida 30 years ago. So they may have gotten rid of the house in North Carolina, but yeah, but one of the things that I'll never forget him saying this. I was absolutely blessed with the opportunity to go to that estate in North Carolina and spend a day with him. And he and I were sitting on the bench looking out the lake, and he said, Sarah, I would love to introduce you to the biggest failure in the entire Amway business. And I was like, wow. holy cow, really? And he said, yeah, hi, my name's Dexter Yeager. I am the biggest failure in Amway. I have failed more at this business than any human being walking this earth. But now he does 80% of Amway's volume. So he's doing what?
Yeah.
About $5 billion a year
I
in
don't
business.
know. Yeah, he's the master.
Something like that, So that was his lesson to me. That was his whole lesson to me that day.
Right.
I walked away understanding that the more I was willing to embrace falling down and skinning my knees and getting up and brushing them off, sticking a Band-Aid on them and trying the same crazy thing again, the more successful I would be in life.
Yeah. Great point. It's in sports, the same thing. Greatest home run hitter, struck out more than anybody. Jordan missed more shots than anybody else, but all those things. But I'm going to go back to something we talked about earlier and in a previous conversation. I'm going to put this banner up. I got two things I want to point out here. This is an area I'm guilty of it, because I want to talk and I hear something and I want to respond. I want to fill in the benefit, the feature, and all that. And I'm going to put this up here real quick. And then because I think this is an area improving your sales is, number one, listen first. Ask a question, listen, be attentive, and not wait to throw your, I got the great feature for you. This is the benefit of that. It's going to solve all your problems. And I can't wait, right? Because this is Maslow. If anybody ever studied Maslow, our human need is, do you see me? Do you hear? And do you really care? So if we become better listeners, the prospect is going to give you every reason to do business with you. You just wait, listen, acknowledge, get clarification, ask a question. And I want to share this with everybody, including Mark. I haven't shared this with Mark. I went to a big networking event for the Napoleon Hill Foundation. The person that hosted it was a billionaire in his home, Rami Al-Batwari. He wrote a book, Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? An amazing man. He says, this is what you know, what they really want. See, when we're in sales, we think we know what they want. My benefit and features is what they want. He says that's not always the case. So he says they will tell you what they're, why would you want to have $100,000 increase in income in your business, right? You're closing on this. What would that do for you? They will go off into areas to the why. And if you can demonstrate that what I have to offer will give you that, it wasn't the 100,000, it was what the 100,000 does for you. He says, listen to them. They'll tell you what you want, what they really want and desire. It's not always the feature benefit, but if they had it, it will tie to that deeper emotional process. And he says, that's what he does in negotiating billion-dollar deals. I got all this money. We're going to make all this money. We're going to do this and that. He says he doesn't even go there with that. He just asks questions. They will tell them before he even puts the numbers on the board why we should move forward.
I would love to share a story about that.
Sure.
Because I have the perfect segue with that. So I used to run telemarketing team for a business consulting company. And my team's job was just to get a 15-minute appointment. That was it. And my salesmen go in and do their thing. And my numbers were falling off and they fell off. And so I sat down with my folks and I said, okay, what's going on? What you don't understand, Sarah. We're working these same territories and some of these people just won't listen. I said, that's interesting. They won't? No, they're not listening to me. Well, okay, well, that tells me the first part of the problem. And they were like, what? I said, when you're selling, Their job is not to listen. That's your job. So they're trying to do your job and they don't know how to start with. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to make you a deal. Here's my deal. You guys go through, I'm going to give you 30 minutes. Pick the toughest person on these lists. The one that you absolutely cannot, I don't care what happens, they're never going to make an appointment with us. And I'm going to call them. And if I can't get an appointment with them, then I'll send you all home for the rest of the day with pay. But if I can, you get to never say those words to me again. And they were like, okay. So they sat down, they found this guy, Doug. I'll never forget him. Never forget him. Worked down on the beach in North Carolina. I called him, told him who I was. He was like, Sarah, I have talked to your people 50 times. I keep telling you I'm not interested in talking to you. I said, whoa. I said, I think we got off on the wrong foot here, Doug. I'm not quite sure that you understand why I'm calling you. But since you've brought it up, can I ask you why it is that you feel like you don't want to talk to us? He said, I'm doing 30% above industry average right now. I don't need what you're doing. I said, oh, okay, fair enough. I said, well, let me tell you why I really called, because that was kind of what I heard. The reason that I called is because you are doing so well. And I'm just curious as to how you are doing as well as you are doing. How are you doing 30% above industry average? And I sat back and I shut up. And he spent the next 30 minutes giving me this litany of all the things that he had done to improve profitability. And he did this and talked to this person and invested in this and did this. And after he finally got finished, he said, and that, that's how I got so far ahead. I said, Doug, I am blown away. It is no wonder you're 30% above industry average. I mean, you are a go-getter. And he said, yeah. And I said, if people only understood what you understand, which is that you have to take every opportunity that comes by to improve your profitability. And he said, yeah. I said, great. Here's another opportunity. When would you like for us to stop by? And he stopped dead. And he went, damn it. You got me? And you got me. And I said, yeah, because as good as you are at what you do, that's how good we are at what we do. When would you like for us to come by? Now, my question to my agents when I got off the phone was, how much talking did I do? Almost none. I simply let him give me the exact reason why he needed us to come by. And then I used it. So, yeah.
And the point there is listened, asked a few questions. They will tell you, they're not realizing they're going to tell you the other reason they would do business with you. Because he told you, yeah, I'm always looking for an opportunity to get better. Well, great. When can we get together so I can show you how to get better? What a great story. Because what you said right there, most salespeople would have never picked up on that point, because they're always trying to do this, right? Overcome their objections, trying to prove a point, trying to show your expertise and all this stuff. And you just let him, his ego was in there, right? He's, man, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, and this is what I do. And you just ask that one question. Yeah. It's not like you're the type of person that's always looking for an opportunity to get better, right? Yeah. Yes, I am. When can we get together? I love it.
And that is, that's another thing that I teach in my coach is knowing what to listen for and what questions to ask. I've got what I call my $1 million close, which I'm not sharing right here. Sorry, because it will literally make you $1 million. But it's one question that I can get all of the objections out of the way, just like that. Because guess what happens when people start making objections? This is what's going on in their head. We all have this list of acceptable responses to say no. It costs too much. I don't have time. I need to check with somebody. The timing is bad. I've got another project going on. We all have them. And what happens is, and tell me if I'm telling you the truth, y'all have all dealt with this. They give you an objection and you handle it. What do?
Throw up
Give you
another
another
roadblock.
And they're going through their list in their head until you are exhausted and give up. It's all that's happening. And they've never once told you exactly what the problem was. And with one question, I can get them to go, bleh, tell me exactly what's going on. Because those are objections. People ask me all the time, can you teach me how to handle objections? No, I can't. Objections are stopping points. What I can do is teach you how to help people overcome their own obstacles. That's what I do. I'm going to teach you how to help them identify their obstacle and how to move around it. And so, because I am not coming at them, that's how I get people comfortable in the sales process. Because that's the part that most salespeople cannot handle. Am I right? They want to give up on those objections. I don't want to. Well, guess what? If you don't have to go through that, you don't ever have to get uncomfortable. You just say, okay. So this is the bottom line. Okay, the bottom line is price. Okay, all right. So, this is how we deal with that. There's several options we can work with. And depending on what you're doing, there's always several options you can do when it comes to price. But then you're not dealing with all the other crud that they just put in place that was absolutely meaningless and wasn't going to make a hill of beans in the first place, just wasting your time and theirs. So that's why I love sales. I love sales because, to me, sales is simply helping a person get out of their own way. You know perfectly well when you need to buy something. You're an intelligent human being. But you get in your own way. My job as a salesperson is simply to help you get out of your own way and make the choice that is going to produce the results that you are looking for.
I'm putting across the bottom there your contact information for that $1 million opportunity. They can contact you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'd encourage anybody to reach out to you because, I've been in sales a long time, and I used to have my ego in the way. I was the number one sales guy in my company, but I didn't realize that it was a whole myriad of things that helped me get there. It was other people, their coaching, and some books I was reading and that type of thing. We got to get out our own way, our egos as salespeople. Would you agree?
Yep.
I'm the smartest thing in the toolbox, and all this. That's why you should do business with me. And people don't care what you do and how you do it. What's your differentiation?
Yeah.
Because if you're selling life insurance, everybody else that's in there selling life insurance, there's not a big differentiation in product, right?
Yeah.
Why you?
Why you? That's right. And that's the true question that every buyer has. Why you? What is it about you? What can you give me that no one else can? And sometimes it's simply your personality. Sometimes it is simply, I like you. I trust you.
And you can help me.
There is no bigger compliment in the world that anyone can pay me than, Sarah, I trust you.
Yeah.
Because they know when people talk to me in sales and when they talk to people that I coach, they know that my goal when I get to the end of it is not to sell you a product. My goal is to help you know where is your next step. What do you need to do to get there? And you now have a resource available to you to take that next step. Whether or not you choose to take it, that's up to you. But my job is to make sure that I uncover the need and provide a resource.
Yeah.
Mark, you got something? Because I got something I want to say with regard to what you just said there. So
Go ahead.
That trust. trust isn't the amount of knowledge. It's important, depending what you're selling. The trust that you know what you're talking about when you get to the point, let's find out the nitty gritty of what you have to offer. Will it fill my needs? But it's who you show up as. That your excitement, now your excitement, your enthusiasm, your conviction, your tone of voice, your body language. Now you can be a hype man. There's a lot of hype people out there. People pick up on that, and right. We see it all the time. We see it on the hype man, the gurus and all this stuff. And you ask them how much money they're making. I'm making more than you. How can you tell me how to make more money? But that I think that's where something too is people are worried about a perception. How are you going to judge me? As long as you're honest, you have an integrity, you do what you say you're going to do. If you say I'm going to call you tomorrow, you call them tomorrow, or I'll call you at the end of the month. And people I can't believe some salespeople out there. They don't follow up. I let my clients know, I know you got a lot of things on the table right now. Wouldn't be a good time for me to get back there. Oh, how about September, the second week in September? Great, I'll call you then. Guess what? It's on my calendar.
That's right.
90% of salespeople do not do the follow-up. They've given you the permission and they don't take it.
You are absolutely correct.
The money's
the
in the
numbers
follow-up.
Don't lie.
What's
Only 2% of sales are made on the first call. So if you are not following up and all I taught you was how to do an effective series of follow-up, you just increase your income 49 times with the same people. You don't even have to call more people. It's the same people that you already know. It's simply learning to follow up effectively.
Yeah. And just be yourself, be honest, live with integrity, have a smile on your face. It comes across when they throw you all the objections and all things at you. You just acknowledge that you heard them. And, maybe we can find a time where, if any of those issues come up, you've got more time, I'd be glad to talk with you. Next quarter, will that work for you? Yeah. So you just ask the question. Yep. They'll tell you, don't ever call me again. You said, well, great. But if you don't have any problem, I'd like to stay in touch with you if I got any new information about our company and offering. Do you mind if I send it to you?
Oh, yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Almost every time.
Yeah.
I think what you talked about, Sarah, no sometimes just means not no forever, just no right now. It's just a temporary, could be a timing thing, financial thing. There's things you and I may not even know. That person that you may be talking to, they may be having a crappy day. You don't know. I never like to ask, how's your day going? But, I kiddingly say, hope you're having a very successful Monday or Tuesday, when I pause. And they'll tell you, they'll kind of laugh. Yeah, I wish it was successful, Mark. I'm just out. But yeah, it's okay. And the other thing you talked about, it's okay. I know some people hate the word fail. I'm not going to go through all 10 of them, but there's a gentleman out there that played for the Yankees. And I do love baseball, and he wore the pinstripes, and his number was 2. He said, number 10. These were 10 rules of success for Derek Jeter. You're going to fail, learn from it. And you can call it whatever you want. It's a learning process, but learn from it. Nobody gets up there and hits a home run every at bat. You are going to strike out at some point in time in baseball, and that's why I like baseball versus sales or any endeavor, because I think that epitomizes, the truth, wisdom, and knowledge that some of us are still seeking out there. And, it's some people have a problem with it. And I don't like to say it's a numbers game. It's how you present, your service and the value. You touched on a lot of those things this evening. It's about, you're presenting value and making it conversational. You're not going to interrogate somebody either when you get them on the phone or you're face to face and you go, okay, I got question one. Okay, that one's done. Okay. That always reminds me of where were you the night of the 13th with a flashlight in your eyes and,
Exactly.
make it conversational, just like you did with that customer when he went on and ranted and said, I did this, I did that, and you mentioned, yeah, you're all about opportunities. Well, here's another opportunity to take it to the next level. And, it gets people to think. And then, that's the name of the game, just to get people to think about things outside the box. I think that's, you can't do it the way it used to be done. We could go through all these different closes and, but I really believe what you're talking about is there really are no rules either. You got to be very flexible when you're dealing with people because they didn't go to customer school.
That's right. That's what I get asked all the time. Can you help me write a script? I'm like, no. And they're like, no. And I said, no, I don't use scripts. They're like, you don't? I said, no, because let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to sit down and write you a script. You're going to memorize it. You're going to go out. You're going to start a conversation with somebody. 2 sentences in, they're going to say something that's not on that piece of paper. And now you have no clue where to go.
Right.
What was the point in this exercise? Just be a human being. Just try that one.
And be very intentional. What's the purpose of the call? Whether it's at the first call, what's the intention? And that's all you talk about.
Right.
Absolutely.
The second call, you have an intentionality. You let them know in advance when we get back. Again, I'm going to get you some information. We're going to talk about those things that you had questions about. You be very intentional for the next appointment.
Right.
And you don't go, well, I got an appointment. What do we talk about today?
It's okay to send calendar invites too.
Yeah.
That's what we always do. We always say, hey, would like to hook up again. How's your calendar looking the next 2 weeks? And they'll tell you, yeah, we're going to continue this conversation, or yeah, call me back in 6 months, and I don't consider that a loss either. If they tell you that, if that was call one and they said, hey, could you call me back in a month or 2 months or whatever, like Tom said, it's what is your objective, like you mentioned it, Sarah, it'd be great if call one, yeah, I'm sold, boom, I'm in, yeah, sale. Doesn't work that way, go to my website and here it is. And no, because they have no idea what you do and what value you're bringing to the table. And you got to be talking to the right person too, the person that can say yes.
And I am so enjoying this conversation, and I hate to do this. However,
it's time to go.
I've got another appointment and I get to stay in integrity and keep my.
You know what? It's 7:08, so we should have been out of here. We went 8 minutes over.
That's okay. I've had a blast. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Invite me back anytime.
Yes, we'll have you back.
I would love that.
That is awesome. And you actually had a chance to sit down with Dexter Yeager. I've heard him speak a time or two.
Okay, let you go. Hit that appointment. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Y'all have a great night.
You got it.
There's a busy gal too. Yeah. So, Mark, you run across people, they're authentic. I've been in sales a long time. You've been in sales, business, and all that. And, unfortunately, we got a lot of hype out there. And when I heard her talk, she's no hype.
Yeah.
I mean,
no. There is a lot of hype right now, and I think, and I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but on certain platforms, I won't pinpoint one, but they're all out there telling you how you can create this wealth, that wealth, and some people may not be there. Everybody's that comes in at different levels. They just want to. It could be just making some sales. It could be just being comfortable using this, what we're doing right now, whether it's even Teams, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google, how to use it and implement it in their process. It's I don't think there's a cookie cuttered answer. And I
No,
think that now because people are home more, what's happened in the past 2 years or whatever, there's a lot of people out there, they're hyping it up, and hey, I can get you this in 90 days, or
yeah,
well, that'd be like me telling you, hey, I'm going to make you a major league umpire in 90 days. That's not going to happen.
right.
There's a process to it. It just, you know, I don't know of anybody, that's happened. You got to go to school. You've got to study, train. You know, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
you mentioned some good points there, Mark, and a lot of times we talk about success, and many times we hear success is how big your bank account and how big you're going to get all this revenue, and that's great. I mean, money's important.
Oh yeah.
It's as critical as breathing, right? I mean, without money, you can't
Mhm.
serve, you can't feed your family, you can't meet your basic needs.
Yeah.
But what do you really want to do? I'm going to take this. What I learned is that success is a process, and I remember Sandy Gallagher. She's the partner of Bob Proctor,
Yeah.
uh, very wealthy attorney, IPO attorney, and she really defined that success. The real definition of success is who you become along the way, and so that's where am I today, and am I getting better tomorrow? Am I
Right.
thinking differently? Is my attitudes correct? Am I working on myself? Am I doing those little things? Because you can't obtain $1 million a year business if you're not improving incrementally in many different areas.
Right.
So this is something that has been taught to me 7-8 years ago. I got out of that judging my success against somebody else's success. I've
Right.
been blessed. I've been lucky too, but I made the luck happen. But it's my real success is who I'm becoming along the way. I want
Right.
to get better every day.
And I think to add into that, the caveat is, there are some folks that are constantly either looking over their shoulder, what's behind them, or worrying about what people are going to think or say. And I hate to disillusion you out there, America. They're not worrying about you and thinking about you. What, it could, just to talk to another human being, you could be not even know somebody, but to say, "Hey, my name's Mark Gassert. How you doing? I notice you're going to the baseball game right now." People are so afraid to say anything. Some, not all, but there is a perception that we're constantly there's this one-upmanship, and you hit on it. So I'm not going to worry about how many Lear jets whoever has, and that's great. I'm not making fun of it, but I just want to get better. And it's about the art of man and where you're going and what you're doing to improve yourself. So I can't worry about what you think of me. And that might sound conceited. It's not if it comes across that way. It's just I got to do what I got to do, and you know,
I think what you just said there, Mark, is we're always worrying about what somebody thinks about. If you're coming from a place of
right,
integrity, honesty, a place of compassion, you're caring about people, you're whatever you do in life, you're listening to people. Do you hear me? Do you see me? And do you really care? That's what people are looking for
right,
in business. If you can listen and respond to that, more business will come to you. I've turned business away
sure,
because I want to work with people that want to work with Tom Ginn.
right,
There's some people out there that would wear me out working with him in my coaching business. Sorry, we're not a great match. I don't care if you pay me 20 times more money to get what I
right,
have. It just sometimes you just have to say
sure,
we're not right for each other. The product may be right, but I'm not the guy to work with you. And that's okay too, right?
yeah, no, absolutely. If it's not a good fit, so it just like in sales, it may be great to secure an account worth XYZ amount of dollars, but then what do you got to do to keep it? And the people you're dealing with, what is it going to drain you emotionally? And I think you hit something very profound there.
Thank you. Well, my friend, um, elevate your profits. Next week, I'm heading to Salt Lake City
Right.
with our corporate sponsor.
Right.
I'm going to meet with some executive officer, bringing a couple very significant business players in to
That's Utah, right?
Utah.
Yeah.
Yep. Our corporate sponsor is SIA. And, like Ben Gay says, don't be shy what you do.
Intentional. Yeah. Be intentional.
Be intentional. Seriously, Mark, I think, as we're out here, helping people, being in business for yourself is not for everybody. We have to acknowledge that. But anybody that has a desire to do something and take control of their own destiny, business is the way to do it overall, because you control it. But you got to have the right prep for it. We talked about some of the principal shoes talk about is your relationship with sales. I mean, if you're going business, right? What's your relationship being sell? You have to ask for that commitment, and that's called exchange.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you more value. If you can demonstrate, I'm going to give you more value than the $10 I gave you. We got a deal. If you can demonstrate that, right?
That's important.
Yeah. So, but anyway, our corporate sponsor, ASEA, I encourage people that are, for two reasons, Mark, is anybody that's looking for a company that has integrity, it cares about people before money. Now, the company's very profitable. Otherwise, it wouldn't be around 10, 11, 12 years, whatever. But really putting people first, both in the product and the opportunity. If you're looking for something very unique in business today, ASEA is very unique out there. And the second thing is what we're doing in the area of the healthcare space. We are the disruptor, and we are making a difference in individuals' health. And you don't become $1 billion sales if, in fact, the product you have is saline, right? So salt water, it is not. I encourage people to really look at the science of ASEA. Question where you are with your health. Are you looking to push things off in the future, or do you have issues now? This company is doing some very significant things, and I just encourage people to look at it. It's okay to be skeptical, but just
yeah. Oh yeah. It's this Sunday. I've got 3 games. I just got asked to do 3 games because fall baseball's kicked in. So yeah, I'll probably be taking some of that liquid ASEA and the gel with me, depending on where I'm at on the field, what I'm doing. But getting behind the plate again, and hopefully I won't get hit.
Well, if you do, you know what to do, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Get some ice on it, get some ASEA gel on it, and you're in great shape. But my friend, I know. So next week we'll just do a replay.
Okay, that sounds good.
And we're getting to the end of the summer here. We got Labor Day weekend coming up, and all that type of thing.
Right.
So we've got some guests lined up. We'll announce those.
I'm going to be reaching out this week for September-ish to see if we can get some people back to back to back. And I know everybody's here, there, and everywhere, and I got to get that going because football will be upon me. And like I said, I'll be going to see my son. So
how exciting! He's a senior now?
Yeah,
Mark?
yeah, he is, and I think they've got one more scrimmage game coming up, and then so they have one on Saturday, and so
great. Well, my friend, let's say good night.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Robert Brooker, man, you're a piece of work. I do love your comments. Fantastic. Randy Chafee, thank you for chiming in. I don't know what's going on here. It might be on your end. He shows up on this podcast as Facebook user. I don't know why. And then on my phone, he showed up as Randy Chafee. So
I don't know either. That was happening with Ken Walls the other night too. So I don't know if it's a StreamYard thing or
what
whatever.
you were showing up as Facebook user on Ken's thing, or
No, I didn't. I came up, but there were other people that were coming in. So
yeah,
I
it
think you
could
have to
be.
click that little thing when you do a StreamYard. You have to click on a little blue link. It
Right.
says, "Yeah, you can show my name." So who knows? Things are changing. Love
Yeah.
technology, hate technology at the same time. So,
I don't worry about it. Just roll with it. That's how we learn.
all right.
I
Yeah.
I love Facebook user. I think that's kind of wild they put it up that way.
That causes to ask a question, right?
Sometimes I'd like to be Facebook user.
All right, my friend. Hey, have a great evening. Take care of
Okay.
yourself. God bless.
All right. Hey, thanks, Tom.
You got it,
Thank
bud.
you, everybody. Have a great Monday night.